Hello and welcome. I am Spandana and take the privilege on behalf of BrainFeed to welcome an esteemed personality, Miss Aarti Savur, CEO of Parisar Asha. Welcome aboard, ma'am.
Thank you.
Miss Aarti Savur is an expert of the education field with more than 2 decades of experience. Her exceptional contribution extends from evolving arts and an integrated education system emphasizing on knowledge, skill, attitude, and values. She started working as a teacher's trainer, come teaching aids designer with Parisar Asha, then moved on to explore a corporate exposure in senior level management. She was also the member of experts panel for the board of NCERT. Eventually, Ms. Saur gave up her prosperous corporate career and joined back Parisar Asha as a CEO and intensely believes that to bring about a constructive change in the society. She has been honored with the Maharashtra Guru Gaurav Award, Women Achiever Award, Femina World Women Super Achiever Award, and Indian Women Achievers Award for her exceptional role in the field of education. So without further delay, let us know the experiences of Ms. Saur. Thank you for your valuable time today, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Spandana. It's really my honor and pleasure to be on your platform today on your webinar. I'm really honored.
Thank you, ma'am. So the first question, so what is the story behind setting up of Parisar Asha?
Yeah, okay. First, let me tell you that I am not a founder member of Parisar Asha. It was founded by another teacher, and who was actually not very happy with that education system. I'm talking about almost 38 years ago because Parisar Asha was founded in 1982. And the founder director, late Gloria D'Souza, she was a teacher in very well-known school in Mumbai. And why she was unhappy? Because she never believed in rote learning. She always wanted our education system to be more joyful, more experiential for children, and that learning should be for life, not for only giving, like passing examinations and getting marks. Because you will see, like in today's pandemic situation, people are clueless. They don't know what to do because we don't work on skill development, we don't work on attitude and value development. We are only running after knowledge, like, and memorizing. So she was the one who in 1982 she gave up her teaching career, and she started single-handedly this Parisar Ashram. And she was the first Ashoka fellow for social entrepreneurship. And then Parisar Asha had been working in this field of education for past 38 years and transforming lives, and like helping lower income group schools. And if you'll find today all these IB schools and all international boards, what they are doing right now, we have been doing that for past before 38 years. It was like it all initiative started so long ago. And I really feel that honor and pleasure, like that she selected me before she passed away. And that's how I gave up my corporate career. I came, you won't believe, that day I joined Parisar Asha, next day she expired. So it's more like you can say my purpose of life now, Parisar Asha. So past 7 years I have been working with Parisar Asha, and before that, of course, 10 years ago, before it was almost like, now this is my 26th year in education field. So first 10 years with Parisar Asha, next 10 years with corporate sector, and now again 7 years now with Parisar Asha. So it's a like completing the circle of life.
Yes.
So that's how the Parisar Asha was started, to change the education system from rote learning to joyful experiences for children for life.
Yeah, I know it's not a small thing and really fantastic, ma'am.
Yeah, and that like also not having that kind of backing from, we don't have any kind of political connects, neither we do have like big corporates who are actually providing the main maybe salaries of the employees. So it is like actually running your own business with a social cause, and that too, the normal common people coming together and wanting to change like the society. So it's really different, but it's a very you can say enriching journey and very challenging journey too.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, how has your journey been in the education field?
um, See, my journey, to be frank, I mean, I'm by chance in this education field. Because I come from a family of artists. You know, my parents, they were from JJ School of Art, and but unfortunately during their time, and being very, you know, humble and very passionate artists, they were not very successful in their career, because that time art was not given, and till date art is not given that kind of importance, you know, due importance in our system. If somebody wants to take art, like parents will be really scared, you know, ki, no, 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 baba, ये degree ले लो, you get some proper, you know, job, don't get into all these lines करके. So same thing happened with me also. My parents said no, you are not going, because my father also changed his career. He became a cartoonist and front page, you know, like his cartoons used to come on the front page, and he was a journalist, very famous journalist. And my mother, she gave up her art and all, and then she became principal of a special care center. It was a special school. Then she moved to National Association for the Blind. So I was born in a very social kind of, you know, like family where people are working to give back to the society. So they
But
said no, no, yeah. So
yeah,
that's
but
how,
let
you know.
me tell you, the industry has missed beautiful women.
So no, no, but see, and my mother used to always tell me, she said no, no, first you do your graduation, post graduation. And I never wanted, I wanted to go to JJ School of Art, you know, but then because of my parents I did my masters in science. But it was my passion and ambition that sometime or the other that I want to do, you know, like my art degree. So that's how I did. After so many years I completed, you know, my masters in arts. So I
Yeah.
did my fine arts, you know, like drawing and painting. So but then that's what, you know, like today I feel really good, because my mother forced me to do that, and I listened to her, you know, like, and I keep on telling this children also today, when I conduct parenting session and the, you know, sessions for children, ki listen to your parents. They will always want your, you know, like for your benefit, whatever they are saying. Like our today's generation is not ready to listen to them, and of course our parents are also not very patient like how earlier parents used to be. So that's how, you know, like because of her, like today I am handling these, you know, like this particular portfolio of being in a CEO's position. If I was only the artist, then maybe my journey would have been something different, and I wouldn't have touched so many lives, you know, like okay, with art also you are touching lives, but here we are transforming lives, you know, the kind of work we have been doing with Parisar Asha. It is, you really feel so satisfied that, you know, you have found a purpose of your life. And the blessings what you get from people, it is, you know, you will never get, you can't compensate that with money anytime.
Yeah.
So that's my journey. Like after my post graduation I came to Parisar Asha. 10 years I was very happy over there, but then I had to move out. Then next 10 years in a corporate world, I was with IB school. I learned that, and that time I realized ki what IB or the international schools are doing right now, we were doing for so many years, and that too at a very low cost, no cost for lower income group children, you know, because we believe in government says right to education. We believe in right to right education. Every child should get, you know, the right kind of education, because it's not about just marks. See, initially, before, like after we got our independence, it was necessary that literacy was very important. People were not literate. Today people are literate, but it, you know, the challenges have changed of 21st century. So
Yeah.
we need to really train them for future. We don't know, these kids are there in first second standard today. After 10 years, 15 years, they will be out in the market. Can anybody dream of a world after 10, 15 years? Just imagine 6, 8 months ago, we never thought we will be, you know, like in the four walls,
Yeah.
caught in a four walls today. So that's how, you know, that's my journey with Parisar Asha, and it's my life journey, you can see.
Yeah. So what changes have you seen in all these years of your contribution?
See, I will tell you one thing. Like for 10 years after working with Parisar Asha in, you know, these lower income group schools and also middle class schools, when I came back to Parisar Asha after 10 years of gap, you know, so it's like after 20 years, still I found, you know, because people are there only. There is no change in the mindset. In fact, situations are going from worse to, you know, like bad to worse now, because our kids today have more challenges than what we had 20, 25 years ago. You know, we never had so much of media exposure. We never had, see, our, unfortunately our education system has been, you know, infected. I always say, you know, like today we have a virus, which is infecting
Yeah.
our lives, but our education system had been infected because of three P's. One is poverty. There is so much of poverty in our society, in our country. There is politics, which plays in education, and beat
Of
it
course.
in the school level, beat it at the college level, beat it at the government level. Like the politics has been, education has been ruled by politics. And third is population. So you have so much of population. Not every school can afford to have 20 kids in a classroom to
Yeah.
give that one-to-one connect. And unfortunately, with pandemic, though, the situations are really bad. But yeah, we had been facing challenges. There are certain schools who are doing remarkable work. There are certain NGOs. There are certain, like even different categories. But we need in masses, not in classes.
Of course. So education system is going through an immense transformation now. So what are your views on this matter?
Thanks to Corona. Absolutely. Because see, of course, government had been talking about digitalization, but unfortunately the kind of digitalization people never imagined, because we had found in school system, they will put up, those smart boards and teachers will say the film is going on, and they feel, okay, we are digitalized, we are, like now tech savvy. And but this is not the way of teaching. You need to have that human touch, you need to have that teacher. You cannot replace teacher in any education system, because it's not about, like making robots, it's about making human beings today. So
Yeah.
this is exactly, like with this pandemic, of course, there are a lot of, we need to use technology, but I'm really happy that today teachers are taking so much of efforts, of getting touched, like they're touching lives of the entire families today. I've never seen teachers working so hard that I've saw, like I saw in that April, May, June month, teachers were learning. After 30 years of, teaching in a classroom setup, today they are on Zoom classes, they are on, like Google Meets, they are trying to learn, they're trying to teach children, like through these whatever available facilities. So I think it's a very good change. And now we are all on digital platform, but of course I think every teacher would like to go back to their old system. But of course online is going to stay here, it's going to be here, like it's going to be the new normal of our life. And that's how we are connected like today. Otherwise we would have never thought of, meeting on this digital platform.
Yeah. So how would you like to guide students to keep their mental health better in this time of uncertainty due to pandemic and constant changes happening in the exam schedule?
Yeah. So first of all, let me tell all the students that uncertainty is part of our life. Whether it's today pandemic or whether it is any time, you will see our ancient history also. There is nothing. It's change is the only constant thing in our life. So how, like best we can accept that fact. So there is ABCD for our students. So I have listed down few keywords which you have to remember always. So ABCD. So A is, first of all, you have to learn to accept whatever comes in your way. You can't cry and howl ki, okay, what has happened to me. So you should not say ki, why me, you should say try me. So
Yeah.
remember that you have to accept your life as it is, it comes. Adapt. You have to, just don't have to sit and, okay, I have accepted, now I'm sitting quietly, I'm not doing anything. You need to adapt the situation, because situations keeps on changing. So how best, and that's the beauty of a human life, or the evolution completely. So the species, who survive, they are the best suited for that particular, they adapted so well. So it's a survival of fittest. So you have to remember that. And third thing is appreciation. So appreciation is a very, very important, you can say, skill which everybody needs to learn, because unless and until you start appreciating yourself, your family members, your people, your situations, you will never be happy. See, problem is, it's not about today's pandemic, it's not about your exams, it's all about, the exams what life throws at you. You are never prepared, so you need to be prepared for that. So my B is all about be prepared. Be prepared for any kind of situation comes in your way. You have to face it, like have that courage. You have to have, so you have to be patient also. You can't get everything at your fingertips, because I've seen our children today and our parents today, they are Google parents, they are Google students, so they can, like they want so fast, so there is no patience. So you have to be first of all, like be prepared, be patient. You have to be positive about your life, because life is the game of ups and downs, like you can't have everything the way you want. So you need to be positive. See, positive doesn't mean that you have to be very positive always, in bad situations also. But in bad situations, what way, like you have to be also thinker. You have to have that critical thinking, how you can face your challenges. So these are also be sensitive. So I was just checking, like whether I have missed out on something. So it is, and also very important thing is you have to be passionate. I don't find these passion in our youngsters today, because somewhere our generation is responsible for that, because we are giving everything on them on their platter. A platter is full. They know, okay, if I want admission over here, my parents are going to give donation over there. So I don't have to worry, or I don't have to, like be really focused on my work. So that's the problem of our today's generation. I'm not talking about almost everyone, because I find there are so many very talented and passionate people are around. But passion is a key of success. Like you need to be passionate about whatever you are doing, because that will give you happiness. You can't buy happiness anywhere in the world. If it was to be bought, then people would have being buying in any shop. So you have to create your own happiness. So that's why you need to have passion. You can have some hobbies also to create that passion. It's not only about exams. It's not about, the life is not only about exams. So look at the education should be actually making you compatible to live life. But unfortunately our education system does not do that. Like we are only worried about, okay, ye portion complete kiya kya, how much marks you are going to get, which college you are going to get admission. And that's where the problem is. That's why we find, like children today, parents today are in depression, because they don't know how to face the exam. Now we don't know, it's so uncertain that when the exams are going to be. So you have to be prepared. Let any exam come at any time. You have to do your regular thing. So for C, now let's come to C. C is you have to be creative, because that's the key for success. You have to have collaboration. You have to, work with your people. You have to work with your family. You have to work with your peers. Then another C is critical thinking anyway. So these are, like we say, 4 C's of 21st century. Then critical thinking, collaboration, communication. You need to communicate. The communication is not about, you have to learn communication. It's not about just learning any language, or like, okay, I can speak very well in English, so I'm very good at communication. No. Are you able to express your feelings to others, in whichever language you speak? It's not only about English. But you need to communicate, because you will find today whatever problems are happening in the world is because of miscommunication. You try to tell something and the other person, look at the Twitter, the entire thing, what is happening today. People are just, the communication used in such a bad way. You are just creating so much of negativity in the entire society, and people are like mad, like crazy. They're just following these people, and they're not worried, okay, like you have to take care of your lives first, and then worry about, like, okay, so who has committed suicide and what it is, whether it's suicide or whatever. So this is unfortunate situation, the way media is communicating to us. So please understand the keywords, like communication. And this is like a key for living a successful life, because life throws anything to you. So you are, have courage also, because that is something which you are going to, like face. And after having all these things in the skills in you, you will be confident definitely to face the life. And the D is discipline. You need to follow certain discipline in life. You cannot have, see, unfortunately I find today there is no discipline in the families also. So I like to tell, over here we started along with our educational initiatives, like for so many years, where we were training schools and teachers, and like providing learning material for the students. We also realized that children are there in the school space only for 4 to 5, 6 hours, but maximum time they are spending at home, and the home environment really matters. So if you know our Parisar Asha, the name of our organization suggests, like Parisar is environment and Asha is home. So I'm sure everybody thinks, like, okay, what is the connection between environment and education? Because for us, environment means, okay, plants, trees, greenery, you know, and people call me and they ask me, ki, where are you going to stop cutting trees, or, you know, like plant more trees, or stop pollution. So for us, environment is not just about your physical environment, it's your social environment, it's your spiritual environment, it's your academic environment, it's your mental environment, you know, it's your emotional environment. So today, the kind of person you are is because the kind of environment you have received. And that's where we started with this, you know, because we find that students or children today, the major environment which is playing on their lives is their home environment. So we have a toll-free helpline where we provide a free counseling. We have psychiatrists, psychologists. With the great support of Capgemini, we could make it free of cost, because see, the kind of society we cater to, they can never think of, you know, like the mental health is really important. They are unaware of this. We are still in our education system, we are not focusing on mental. How many schools have counselors today? Only few schools, you know, who can afford to pay counselors the salary. So this is how we started with this mental health helpline, positive parenting and child helpline. So that time, you know, we used to get a lot of, I mean, we still get a lot of cases, and I realized the major problem, major challenges in every house today is there is no discipline. Because parents themselves, you know, like they do whatever they feel like doing, you know. So, and they expect children, no, you have to listen to us, you have to be like this. But please remember, parents, children are not listening to you, but they are observing you. They will be the, you know, like they will be your reflection. So if you want a good child, or, you know, a good human being to be created, you need to first change your way of living, your way of talking to them, your way of, you have to show what, you know, exactly you want your children to be. So, you know, it's like be the change you want to see in the world. So you have to be the change. So this is the ABCD of life, which for students and parents together, because parents, please create a good environment for our children to study. If you want them to, you know, like get good marks today, unfortunately, I find there are a lot of challenges in the family itself. So if you don't have the acceptance, the, you know, between your own family members, what do we expect from the society, that we will accept the differences of each other? So this is my ABCD for the children, for not only for exams, but you know, your life's exam, because life keeps on throwing so many exams, you know, you are not even prepared for that time.
Fabulous, ma'am. So, what are your views related to online learning? How much feasible do you think it is from present scenario in India?
See, I think if there is learning, it's online, or there is no learning. You know, unfortunately, we are in a situation where we can't open the schools. There is either you have to, you know, like accept the fact, as I'm saying, accept and adopt to that as early as possible, and appreciate, okay, at least we are connected, you know, like our children. See, I can tell you the kind of schools we work, you know, many a times our children are more vulnerable at home. You know, the schools are more safer space over there. So this is a time when teachers, I'm not looking at, you know, like even teaching literacy, numeracy, something on online, but there has to be connect. See, today we have to go out of our, okay, we have to just learn the knowledge. See, Parisaracha believes in knowledge is important, but very important is skill development and value and attitude development, you know. And today we also have to take care of the mental health of our children, even the parents, because if the parents are not in the right proper mental health, what happens? It's all coming out on the children. So this is a time when teachers, they have to take charge. And I'm sure, see, today almost everybody has some kind of the other phones, you know, like whether it is normal phone or whether it is, you know, like smartphones. Not many people have smartphones. There are challenges because there is only one smartphone in the entire family. So the child's, you know, like you don't know when the child is going to get that, his turn will come or her turn will come, you know, like to see or accept whatever the teachers are sending, whatever teachers are teaching. But I can tell you wonderfully, you know, like many of them, they have adopted. Of course, we can't reach out to masses. There are so many, you know, like places in rural areas where it is still not possible, but everybody is working towards that. And I can see the collaborative efforts today. You know, it's not only one person, but it's the entire society has come together today. There are NGOs working, there are corporates working, there are, you know, like individuals, they are working towards that. So I think it's a best, like when the enemy comes, how everybody comes together. That's what has happened in education field. Of course, I won't say it's 100% it's the success, but then people are working towards that. So let's have hope, things will change, things will settle down, and we will go back to our normal. But meanwhile, I think whatever the way, people are trying to connect with children, it's really remarkable, and in fact, we also did a lot of things. We trained teachers from Parisar Asha, like we started, in fact, once the lockdown was declared, our no teacher was available. I mean, they see everybody using smartphones, but we are not using smartly, even smartphones.
Yeah.
Because we just take calls, we can just use WhatsApp. But there are so many features nobody has used. Zoom links, I used to get so many times, like to attend this webinar, that webinar. I never attended before pandemic. But today, whole day we are on webinars today, So how beautifully everybody has adapted to that. And I think this is the way we are going to survive, sustain, and be successful in tomorrow's world.
Absolutely. Something is better than nothing. Rather than sitting without anything, online is far better. At least in this digital world.
Yes. And how many, and in fact, I can tell you there are so many teachers where they found, like their students are still in native place and they are without smartphones. So we tell them, you call them, speak to them, So that's how we are trying to manage the things. And I think almost everybody is doing their bit over here.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So how important is teaching and learning in a mother tongue for a child?
Well, I think it is very important because when we talk about mother tongue, it's not only about mother tongue, it's the language which is spoken at home. Because see, today you find mother is Tamilian and father is Punjabi, So I won't say ki mother tongue, whichever language is spoken at home is very important for child in that child's development. But unfortunately, what is happening, like though we have such a rich culture of so many languages, we are running after, like we are blindly, okay, unless and until you know English, you are not going to be successful in life, So this is the unfortunate situation in our country because we follow blindly westernization. And no doubt that English is a global language, but English can be learned at any time. And any language can be learned at any time, because of course there are, the key, you can say the process of language learning is listening, understanding, speaking, then reading and writing. But these things are not followed in our English medium schools, not every English medium schools, because when the child goes to junior, senior KG, likho, write down, like ABCD. And parents also, they complain, they go to the school and they say, this school is not doing good, they're just playing, they're not doing anything, they're just singing and dancing, they're not writing. Parents are so worried about writing, they feel that writing is education. I get so many calls on our helpline. Once I would like to share this incident. Like I always tell this incident because one mother, she called me panically, and of course I picked up the phone. We have our counselors are there, but I was there in that counseling room, so I picked up the phone, and the parent was really, like she said, "Madam, मेरा बच्चा ना लिखता ही नहीं है करके." So I said, "लिखता नहीं है." Maybe this child is in 9th or 10th standard. If the child doesn't write, then how the child is going to give exam? So I said, "Madam, which standard your child goes to?" So she said, "He is in senior KG." So I'm like, "Senior KG and you're so hyper that he is not writing." She said, so in junior KG he used to write so much." I said, "Oh God, like this is the condition of our education system." And parents, they put so much of pressure, like it's like what is that, a need and demand and supply. If you are, whatever you are demanding, the supply will be like that. So that's where even schools are in competition. I find in junior, senior KG, they are teaching them tables. And now, of course, I don't have to, like talk about anything, but now coding, then suddenly robotics, suddenly so many, the fashion, it's like a fashion industry today. Education has also become like a fashion industry. Oh, that child is she is learning at 7 years. Where the child is going to go and work? I mean, let that child learn to be human first. You know, there are so many things that child needs to learn to be a good human being. We are forgetting all these things and we are only worried about, you know, let's make our children robots, you know, so whatever they want, they can do. So unfortunately, you know, like we are not developing their heart, we are not developing their mind, we are just developing their brain. So I think we need to be really, really careful. What are we creating? They are our products. So is my product is going to be a, you know, like a properly formed product or a deformed product? So unfortunately,
Absolutely.
we don't worry, you know, like we don't worry about these things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So there is one more very important thing, because people are running after this English language. I have seen, see, if the language is spoken at home, I don't have any issues, you know, like parents can put their children into English medium schools. But we cater to such schools, you know, like the lower income group school where our maid servants children are going, you know, the parents are vegetable vendors, parents are doing something, you know, like in some driver, or no harm at all, you know, like unless and until you know to speak at home. Unfortunately, these children, they don't speak that language at home, and they are forced to learn in a wrong way. You know, the learning is also not in a right way. See, that's why we say right to right education. The way you are learning your things, you know, education is very important. So this is not the way. I have seen children coming to 8, 9, 10 standard. We work with so many schools like that. Children cannot comprehend, children cannot read, they cannot write. And this is not the case of, you know, like a vernacular medium. I'm talking about the English medium, so-called English medium schools, where teachers are also speaking in Hindi. So this is the unfortunate thing, you know, like, so please parents, if you can, please put your children into, you know, like your mother tongue, and children will learn. It's not that I learned from Marathi medium, you know, all these years.
Yeah.
And language learning is, see, but that's how our concepts, you know, like our ethics are so strong, you know, like over there. So I feel every parent, don't worry, you know, like your child will do definitely well in life, you know. So don't worry about your child's future. Okay, if he doesn't speak English, there are so many countries who don't speak English, but they are doing so well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So what is the ideal role of parents in any child's life?
See, I think ideal role of parents is just to create a good environment at home. You know, this is the best thing what you can give. Don't give them money, don't give them best education, don't give them anything, just give them the best, you know, environment where the child can learn on its own, and child can learn good things about life, you know. Child will not see the abuse, child will not see, you know, like so much of hatred. I can see in at homes, you know, and this is what you can give. If you can't give them money, if you can't, put them in any normal school, but your values, what you are going to give, that is going to really make or break that child's destiny. So please remember that, give a good environment. See, I always talk about environment. We come from Parisar, Asha.
Yes.
So it's not about that, but see, the environment really plays very important role in anyone's life, you know. I have seen so many cases, and if you will, I can give you, these are scientific proven facts, that people who are into crimes, they are into, you know, like rapists, criminals, or murderers, or terrorists, they all had very abusive childhood. So if you give a very strong childhood to children, your child is going to be definitely successful in life, you know, and he can be not only successful in professional life, but in personal life also.
Yeah.
So a good environment, this is the role what you need to play in your child's life. Don't worry whether your economic condition is good or bad or worst, and with pandemic you can actually expect the worst things in your life. So but then involve your children in all your decisions, give that child a decision making power. Today unfortunately our parents, they don't give them the decision making power, and when the child comes to 10th standard, they will ask, now what will you do? Will you take arts, will you take commerce, will you take science? And that poor child doesn't know anything, you know, because we have over pampered that child so much. So let your child fall, let your child, you know, like do whatever, you know, like, but he will learn his lessons hard way. You are not going to be there forever for him. So just give him that strength, that courage, and tell them that you are there and you will always believe in them. So that belief you have to give your children, that strength you have to give, not the monetary gains. Because today our children have become so commercial, so materialistic, that they have become more selfish. And teach your children to give. Teach your children to give respect, to give, a strength, to give even whatever way you can help others. And also teach them to look at the people who are not so fortunate like you. And this is the key of success, like then you will find your child will be a happy individual. Today I find, we get so many cases on our mental health helpline, because parents don't know how to bring up, they don't have time for them, so they give them materialistic thing, so this is the very wrong way. Whatever time you can give, don't have that kind of, like, oh, I can't give time, so I can compensate with some materialistic thing. I will give him, okay, this gadget, that gadget. I've seen parents doing that. Please don't do that. Give 1 hour at least, like of that time where you will listen to your child. You will talk to your child. I ask so many times, when I conduct parenting sessions, I ask them, we conduct these parenting sessions free of cost to any school. And now with this pandemic, we are doing it online also. So I can get all the family members. So I ask parents, do you talk to your children? Mother say, we talk. No, we talk to our children. I said, what do you talk to your children? I asked them, what did you do today? Did you eat your tiffin? Did you do your homework? What teacher taught you? I said, this is not asking or talking or, communication. This is like, inquiry, what the police is doing inquiry, like that you're doing inquiry. So you need to understand, you have to go to their world. And if your child is 5 years old, you have to be 5-year-old. If your child is 12-year-old, you have to be 12-year-old. If your child is 18-year-old, you have to behave like 18-year. We think I am 35 years old, so my child will also behave like 35-year-old. He will not behave. So please understand. And after certain time, don't, let go certain things. This is their life. You live your life. I have seen parents, they are getting into their nerves, like children. And children, they tell us, they say, ki pakate hai ye log karke. So don't get into that till the time, it's that boiling point. Have good communication, but give them their space. Let them take their own decisions. Create a good environment for our children.
Thank you, ma'am. So how Parisar Asha tackled the teaching during lockdown and now when things are getting back to normal?
Yeah. So yeah, it was a shock for all of us after this lockdown, because that's how everybody, it was the same situation, because we were also not prepared for digital or online, because we always believed in, like 5 senses, 6 senses rather, like developing 6 senses in children and having that personal touch, personal connect. So when we got to know, then I realized, I said, no, we can't be sitting or, like mourning over this for a longer time, because this is going to stay here. The virus is if it doesn't go for a longer time, then what are we going to do? So immediately I will tell you what we did. Immediately, first of all, I have a team of 40 professionals working with me. So what we did, we first empowered ourselves. First we learned, like of course we had few technology savvy people, so we trained our people, like all my teachers, trainers, my even the designers, and like we also have our 2 artists who are deaf and mute, so they work with us. So we train them also. We say, no, nothing doing now, computer is your guru. You have to learn, like all these skills. So first we empowered our team members, and immediately, like in March, there was a lockdown declared. From April onwards, we started this online sessions. We first did all Zoom. We did not buy that, Zoom subscription paid one. We used to do like half an hour, then once again after half an hour, because we didn't know how it works. But yeah, it worked wonders, because then we also conducted, the entire week we conducted different workshops for teachers. And that really helped our teachers, like where the schools where we are working, and even we kept it open for outsiders. Schools which we are not, they are not working with Parisar Asha. So that's how, like teachers got used to that. Okay, even we can do experiential learning on online platform. So it's not just about PPT presentations, but it's, we actually conduct activities where these are hands-on activities through online now. So they got that confidence, and they really, they appreciated our efforts over there. Then we conducted online competition. We were the first one to declare, like online competitions with 2 very renowned management institutes, because the students were part of that entire thing. So IIM Kashipur and Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management. And we conducted Planet After Pause, which was a art competition, and Once Upon a Quarantine, which was storytelling and poetry recitation competition. And we didn't keep it only for children. We kept all the age group, right from 2 years onwards to senior citizens, and we got so much of good response. And senior citizens, they told us, they said ki, first time something is happening for senior citizens who are under lockdown, because they don't know what to do, with their lives in this particular pandemic situation. So like that, we conducted so many. I mean, you will see our Facebook is so volatile. Every day we are spending, sending so many different activities, initiatives. So sometimes when my daughter gets really, she said, my God, my friends are telling whenever we open our Facebook page, only your mother and Parisar Asha is there. I tell them, please unfollow me. They say, no, we like to see what all things you people are doing. Then one more very good initiative what we started is Ask the Expert series, which is every Thursday. We wanted to do it just for 1-2 months, because when the people were really under stress and that anxiety and fear factor. But now it has become so popular, people keep on asking, now what is your next topic? And all experts and all well-known renowned people, they have come on my that Ask the Expert series. Then we started with WOW series. WOW is Wednesday online workshop for teachers. Now we have art classes online. We have theater clubs online. We have now we are also having reading club, which is absolutely free of cost. We don't charge anything. So we wanted to reach out to those who can't afford, because our children who are stuck at home and they can't, it's the schools are not happening regularly. So this is a complete free of cost what we are doing, reading club, where children can improve their English language communication skills. So n number of, every day we are thinking something new, and and luckily I'm really fortunate to have really wonderful team, who believes in me, and they're as passionate as I am, towards the cause. So we all work 24/7, and we love working. We love, doing these things. So this is keeps us going.
Absolutely. Together we can create wonders.
Yes. Yes.
So in what ways do you think practical learning can help a student?
Today?
Yeah, today. Now everything is theoretical. Yeah.
Yeah. No. See, in fact, Parisar Asha believes in that only. No? So we have our own pedagogy, that is ESOL, that is Environmental Studies Approach Towards Learning. As I'm again and again talking about environment, because we learn from our experiences, what we gather from our environment. For example, which language do you speak, Spandana, at home?
Telugu.
Acha, you speak Telugu. So why do you speak Telugu? Why don't you speak Gujarati at home?
Telugu is my mother tongue.
So what do you mean by mother tongue?
Region, that is how we speak, and then that has come from the I don't know Gujarati basically.
See, understand, the language how you learn Telugu. Is anybody forced you to learn that language?
No.
It just came to you because it was in your environment, right? So the learning, the basic philosophy of learning is whatever happens in our environment, we learn. We don't even realize whether it's good or bad, but we are learning. You find how many of us, I mean, everybody knows bad words, right? Is bad words taught in the school? No. Nobody teaches bad words, or nobody teaches Bollywood songs in the school, but everybody can sing, everybody can, give bad words also in different languages, that too. So this is exactly, our philosophy is, so practical, because you are listening, you're practically involved in these things. And that's how you don't even understand how the learning is taking place. So this is very important. So we always believed in activity-based experiential learning, what we call as practical learning. So this is absolutely required to gain knowledge, not just for giving, examinations, but it is for you, how you are going to actually utilize that knowledge in your real life. How many of us we know how to, actually relate whatever we learned in the school? Nobody. We don't even know why are we learning. Forget about us, forget about students. When I ask teachers, like who are teaching geography, history, maths, why are you teaching? They say because it's there in the curriculum, because they're in the portion, I have to complete the portion. But what is the connection with the real life? Nobody knows that connection. So this is exactly we need to change in our education system. It has to be connected with real life. It has to be connected with real experiences, so that we can learn from that. See, we all learn from our good or bad experiences, right? So this is exactly the philosophy of Parisar Asha, and this needs to be, it's not only Parisar Asha, it is a philosophy of a good education system.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. So how can we improve our ways of teaching and keep reskilling teachers so that they can help leaders of tomorrow to shine?
That is very, very crucial, because like how I told you that I am by chance in the profession, that's how the first question I always ask our teachers, when we conduct teachers training, how many of you are by choice or by chance? So I can tell you, out of 190, 80% are by chance. By choice, there are very few. See, initially, earlier days, it was a different story, but today I can tell you, this is the problem. So teachers, first of all, teachers should be compassionate. Forget about anything. You don't see, today we don't need teachers. Google is there, Google Baba is there, the Google WhatsApp University is there. So you don't need teachers. So what is my role as a teacher? So my role as a teacher is actually to develop, like a holistic development of our children. There has to be so many different areas what teacher has to work on. It's the complete, we have to work on the child's brain development. We have to work on child's physical development. So all those developmental milestones that teacher has to take care of, So this is the way, in fact, we always tell teachers. But unfortunately, Spandana, I would like to tell you, like our education system has so much of discrepancy, because not every school, there are so many private schools, there are so many government schools. So the attitude of every school, every environment matters so much, like every school, if the principal and the management is good, you will find really good environment and the teachers are giving their best. But there are certain schools, like where the management is there only to make money, then you are at it, then it's a very difficult task. There are certain schools where the management is good, but they are working for lower income group school and they are private schools. They can't charge fees, so they can't pay teachers. So when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So this is the unfortunate situation of our education system, and we don't give that respect to our teachers, what a teacher should be getting. See, you are talking about creating tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's entrepreneurs, tomorrow's PMs, tomorrow's CMs. But unfortunately, how much respect are we giving to our teachers? Because there is so much, some of them, they will get very high salaries. Some of them, they get peanuts. And they are expected to do everything, not only teaching. They are also expected to do your whatever, administrative work. They are expected to do, like anything. When the election comes, then they are on the election duty. So other than teaching, they're doing n number of other things. So where you have to first develop that kind of compassion and that kind of passion. Passion and compassion is a very important thing for our teachers. So we need to like train our teachers in, see, of course, I always tell teachers, like in our training programs, ki this teaching profession has been taken by you by your choice now. Your school principal did not come to your house with a gun. Okay, now you have to work in my school. It's your choice. So if when I take up my choice, then whether I get 3,000 or whether I get 30,000, I have to work for that. Because it's unbelievable. Some teachers had been telling me, itna paisa mein itna hi milega. These are the words by teachers. So unfortunately, wrong people in wrong profession can create havoc. So please, teachers, if you are in teaching profession, then please, like we have to remember, it's not just about completing curriculum, completing syllabus. I'm telling you, your all children are going for tuition classes. Whatever you said and done, like they are going, because parents don't trust schools today. When I ask in parenting session, you don't trust your school? Why are you sending junior, senior KG children are going for tuition classes? So this is there is one more incident very funny when I ask this question in parenting session. So few parents, mothers, they are telling, "2 घंटा दिमाग को शांति है." Why are they sending their children to tuition classes? So see, look at this. Like look at our parents, look at our teachers. This is the unfortunate thing in our society. So what do we expect from the education system then? So this is, we all have to work together with a cause that we have to create good individuals, good citizens for tomorrow. It's not just about, like getting 10th standard ka grades, like the schools are so happy flashing, oh, my school has got 100% result. Are Baba, you tell me, not a single child is not going to any private classes. So how much contribution is your actually in that? It's a big question mark. So sorry, schools, I'm telling you very openly, but this is the fact. We have to accept the fact and we have to change that system. Yes. Because unless and until we change, and I'm very happy with this pandemic, everybody has realized the reality, like life is so unpredictable. So this is something I think we have to learn lesson from this pandemic also. And teachers, I think in fact, today I will tell you, Spandana, this is the case. It's not only about learning disabilities, like, children with learning disabilities, children with broken families today. You will find there are many children are going through trauma at home. So this is the time when teachers needs to play a very important role, because their parents are already separated or they are under, separation. And this is happening. I mean, the cases are like more than virus cases. These cases are also, like actually increasing. Yeah, so we need to be, as a teacher, it is my responsibility to be a mother, like a role model. I know it is extra work for teachers, but if I have taken the profession, I have to, we are not into bank or anything where we are just sitting in front of the computer, and we are handling livestock. We are handling lives of, like tomorrow's citizen, today's citizen. They are today's citizen also. So this is what my request, humble request to all the teachers, that if we are in this profession, we can make or break any individual and we can be the change.
Thank you, ma'am. So what more can be done for underprivileged children in our country in education?
More, there is so much to be done. See, we are not actually touched the real life, we are, because see what happens is, even we being in NGO, or there are so many people who are working in different pockets, we are not working collaboratively. So we are not able to reach out. So there are so many, in fact, very close to even cities, we find, things just under our nose. There are so many challenges our children are facing today. So there is n number of things what needs to be done. Of course, with this national policy, we can hope. But see, the problem is with policies, these are only policies good on papers. The practicality is very different. The real life is very different. What you see on papers and what is the actual thing. So I think the government, and also but till the time, like our education system is ruled by politicians, nothing can like happen. We all have to work like an individuals only. So unless and until we really have a good you can say governance in our education system, things will not be like so good. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, this is the fact.
Thank you, ma'am. So last but not least, any suggestion that you would like to give from your side to the policymakers?
No, that's what I'm saying now. Policies are very good. But how much it's going to get implemented, it's a big question. So you have to keep your infrastructure ready for that. It's not only on papers. See, infrastructure will take a big task. How much do we, give weightage in our budget also for education? What are we doing? What budget is given for research? Nothing. It is the least, like last. See, when pandemic happened, education was nowhere in the, essential services. So understand it's not essential. So that's what I'm saying. Of course, they had issues for that. They could not start the school because of, like for precaution. But I'm just quoting this. It is not under essential services. We don't see sometimes so I feel this politician, they don't want to make people educated, you know, in a real sense. Then how will they rule them? Sorry, politicians, but yeah, this is the fact. Because if they, if the people, see, our education system should provide that understanding of taking right decisions. Today, you see all educated, so-called educated people, the way, like they talk about on social media and on Twitter, and I really pity them. Which school they must have gone, which college they must have gone. Like they don't even have the basic sense. We don't have basic civic sense. We don't have basic sense to talk to person. We don't have, I find in education field, people are on principles, but they don't have basic courtesies. So this is something, like this is not what we are envisaging as education. So I think we need to work towards that, and like make it more humble, make it more joyful, make it more where we can actually provide a meaning of good living for our children.
Thank you. So life seldom gives an opportunity to know someone who can inspire us. I, on behalf of Brainfeed Group, immensely happy to have you here today. And thank you for sharing your experiences with Brainfeed viewers, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thanks a lot.
So it was great to hear from women entrepreneur. Please subscribe to Brainfeed TV and magazine to know more such interesting facts from educators. And please do comment and let us know if you want us to come up with any interesting topics. Stay tuned to Brainfeed TV and don't forget to subscribe. See you, and signing off, yours host Spandana.